I'm about to show you 100 real-life phrases that Americans actually say every day. This video combines 10 of my shorter lessons into one, so you have everything in one place. And if you want to learn even faster, try shadowing me and repeat each phrase out loud. Number 1. What's up? I think you know this one already. It's a casual way of asking someone how they are or what's going on. For example, hey, what's up? Not much, just watching TV. Next time you're with friends, instead of just saying hi or hello, try saying, what's up? How's it going? This is another way of saying hi or asking someone how they're doing. For example, when you see a friend, you can say, how's it going? To start the conversation. They might say, pretty good. How about you? And usually what you'll hear is the shortened version, how about you, instead of how about you. Long time no see. You can say this when you haven't seen someone in a long time. For example, hey, long time no see, how you been? That last part is the short way to say, how have you been? We just say, how you been? Can you give me a hand? Say this when you're asking someone to help you with something. For example, hey, can you give me a hand with the groceries? Notice the pronunciation where the words are linked. Can and you become can ya, and give and me become gimme. Can you give me a hand with the groceries? Hit me up later. This means to contact someone later, usually with a phone call or a text. For example, I'm busy now, but hit me up later. This phrase is very casual, so I recommend just using it with family or friends. I'll catch up with you later. Say this when you plan to talk to someone at another time. For example, I need to run now, but I'll catch up with you later. The emphasis here is usually on the word up. I'll catch up with you later. I can't make it. Say this when you can't attend or participate in something. For example, I'm sorry, I can't make it. In this case, make means attend or go to. Sorry, I can't make it. No worries. Say this to show there's no problem or inconvenience. It's like another way of saying you're welcome. For example, if someone says thanks for helping out, you can say no worries. Sounds good. This means yes or all right. You can say this when you agree or approve of something, and it's shortened from that sounds good. For example, let's meet for dinner at 6. Sounds good. I'm running late. You can say this when you're delayed and will arrive later than you thought. Sometimes things take way longer than you planned, and even if it's embarrassing, it's nice to tell people if you're going to be late. For example, I'm running late. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Thanks for the heads up. This means you appreciate being informed about something in advance. For example, I'm running late. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Thanks for the heads up. I'm just browsing. You can say this when you're looking around without any specific intention to buy. You just want to look. For example, can I help you? No, thanks. I'm just browsing. You can also say, I'm just looking, which is a bit more casual. Take it easy. This means to relax or calm down. For example, I've had a busy day. I'm going to take it easy. You got this. This is an expression of encouragement and confidence. It's one of my favorites. For example, if you tell me, English is so hard, I feel like giving up, I would say, keep going. You got this. Fingers crossed. You can say this when you're hoping for a good outcome. For example, I hope you like this video. Fingers crossed, you learned something new. I'm out of here. You can say this when you're leaving or going away. For example, the meeting is over. I'm out of here. Sorry for the inconvenience. This is an apology for causing trouble or difficulty. It's a bit formal, and hopefully you don't have to say it very often. For example, sorry for the inconvenience, but we need to reschedule. Can you talk slower, please? This is a request for someone to speak slowly so you can understand. For example, I didn't catch that. Can you talk slower, please? Keep in touch. Say this when you may not see someone for a while, but you still want to stay in contact with them. For example, if your friend got a new job or is moving away, you can say, "Good luck with everything. Keep in touch." That's a good point. Say this when you agree with someone's opinion or comment. Just don't overuse this with the same people, because if you do, they may think you're insincere or just brown-nosing them. For example, when your friend says, "Working in the office is so much better than working remote because I can socialize with all my coworkers in person." You can say, "That's a good point. Even if you don't agree, you're still validating what your friend said." Let me get back to you on that. You can say this when you need time to find an answer or want to respond later. For example, if someone asks me, "Can you watch all the Twilight movies with me?" I might say, "Let me get back to you on that." Can you say that again? You can say this if you didn't hear or understand something and need it repeated. For example, "What did you say? Can you say that again?" The old-fashioned version of this is "Pardon?" or "I beg your pardon?" But I don't hear that very often anymore. If you want to make this phrase even easier, you can shorten the question to "Say again?" I'll keep that in mind. This means you'll remember to consider something in the future. This can show that you value someone else's opinion even if you don't agree. For example, if your mom says, "You really need to get married and start a family right away," you can say, "Thanks, Mom. I'll keep that in mind." Just a minute. You can say this when you need someone to wait for a short time. For example, if your kid says, "Can you play with me right now?" you can say, "Just a minute. Mama is studying English." And then, of course, go and play with your kid, because they are by far the most important, and they don't stay young forever. Let's grab a coffee. You can say this when you want to meet up with someone for a chat, just to catch up. For example, "Let's grab a coffee after work." This is a great way to catch up with someone or get to know someone better. Many great relationships start with a cup of coffee. So if you're interested in someone, go for it. Ask them out and see what happens. I'm on a tight schedule. This means you have very limited time and you have a lot to do. For example, "I can't chat now. I'm on a tight schedule." Notice how "I'm on a" is all linked together and sounds like one word. I'm on a. I can't chat now. I'm on a tight schedule. It's up to you. This means the decision is yours to make. For example, "I think we should eat out tonight, but it's up to you." Notice how "up" and "to" are linked together, and the O on sounds more like up to. "I think we should eat out tonight, but it's up to you." What's the plan? You can say this when you're asking about the schedule or plan. What's going to happen? For example, "We're going hiking tomorrow. What's the plan after that?" This can help set expectations and avoid conflicts. Just make sure if you do ask this, that It's not your responsibility to make the plan. You nailed it. This means you did something perfect or really, really well. For example, your presentation was amazing. You nailed it. Usually, I emphasize the word nailed when I say this. Your presentation was amazing. You nailed it. I'm all ears. You can say this when you're fully listening and ready to hear what someone has to say. For example, when your friend says, "Do you have a minute to talk?" you can say, "I'm all ears." This is especially useful if that friend just needs someone to listen to them. That's not my cup of tea. You can say this when you don't like something or it's not your preference. For example, when your friend asks, "Do you like horror movies?" you can say, "Nah, that's not my cup of tea." Notice how cup and of sound like one word, cuppa. That's not my cup of tea. Hang on. You can say this when you need someone to wait or let someone know you need more time. For example, hang on. The internet is really slow. The movie will play eventually. It's just buffering. Hang on. I'll see what I can do. This means I'll try to help you, but the outcome may be out of my control. Someone might say this when you ask for a favor, but they're not sure they can control the outcome. For example, if you ask your coworker, "Can you help me get a promotion?" they might say, "I'll see what I can do." They can write a recommendation letter or suggest the promotion to your boss, but ultimately, it's out of their control. I'm not sure. You can say this when you don't know or don't have enough information. For example, if someone asks, "Do you know when the show ends?" you can say, "I'm not sure." If you have a good guess, you can say, "I'm not sure," and then take a guess like, "I think it ends in about 20 minutes." Let's go for it. This means to take action and show how excited you are. You can say this especially when the activity is something that is unknown or high adventure. For example, if a friend says, "We should go skydiving," you can say, "Let's go for it." And it's your first time trying something new, you can say, "Let's go for it." You bet. This means you strongly agree or you're confident about something. For example, if your friend asks, "Can you come to my concert?" you can say, "You bet." It's another way of saying yes, that you'll definitely be there, and it shows how supportive and excited you are. "I'll take care of it." You can say this when you handle or deal with something. For example, if your partner says, "The kids are fighting again," you can say, "I'll take care of it." This is a way to take initiative and responsibility and show people that they can count on you to get things done. I'm on it. You can say this when you're currently addressing or resolving something. For example, if your partner says, "The pasta is boiling over on the stove," you can say, "I'm on it." That means you're already there or you're on your way to take care of it right away. Let's call it a day. Maybe all the work isn't done, but you can say this when you're done with the work or activity for that day. For example, "It's 6 p.m. Let's call it a day." Or, "We went to 3 stores already. Let's call it a day." That makes sense. This means something is logical or understandable. For example, if your friend says, "We should leave early so we don't hit rush hour traffic," you can say, "Yeah, that makes sense." You can say this anytime someone shares their opinion and you understand their logic or point of view. I appreciate it. This is another way to say thank you for what someone did. It shows the other person that you noticed what they did and that it meant a lot to you. For example, thanks for your help. I appreciate it. If this person went out of their way to help you or helped a lot, you can say, I really appreciate it. Thanks for your help. I really appreciate it. And hey, thank you for watching this video. If you're learning something new, please give a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. And if you're a native English speaker, thanks for watching this too. Drop a comment so I know you're here. I really appreciate it. What's the deal? You can say this when you're asking about the situation or what's happening. For example, what's the deal with all this construction? Or what's the deal with Star Wars? Or what's the deal with AI? It's like asking, what's going on with that? Or why is that happening that way? What's the deal? I'm with you. This means you agree with someone or support their idea. For example, when your friend says, we should start a business together, you can say, I'm with you. There are so many ways to say this. Here are a few other casual ways you can try out when you agree with or support your friend. I'm down with that. I feel you. I'm game. I got you. I'm with you. Do you have any tips? You can say this when you're asking for advice or suggestions. For example, do you have any tips for learning English? Do you have any tips for improving my accent? Do you have any tips for losing weight? Do you have any tips for building muscle? Do you have any tips for me? I'll be there. Say this when you're confirming you'll attend an event or an appointment. For example, when you get a text from your dentist that says, are you coming to your cleaning appointment tomorrow? You can respond, yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there for you always and always and always. Yeah, I'll be there. Let's play it by ear. Play it by ear means to decide what to do as a situation develops. It comes from playing music where you play a song without any sheet music. Just figure out the notes and the next part as you go along. So there's no set plan. You just figure it out as you go along. For example, what time should we go to dinner tonight? Let's play it by ear. You're still planning on going to dinner, you just don't know exactly what time. Most likely, you'll send a few texts as it gets closer to dinner time and then play it by ear. It's not rocket science. This means something is not very complicated and definitely not as complicated as rocket science. For example, you can learn how to sew. It's not rocket science. You can learn English. It's not rocket science. You can go to bed before midnight. It's not rocket science. Somehow, that one's still super hard for me. Just make sure you use this in general terms or in a playful way so you don't make anyone feel bad about themselves. That's hilarious. This means something is very funny or so funny. It's like the difference between this and this. This is funny, and this is hilarious. For example, did you hear that comedian? His jokes are hilarious. Good to know. You can say this when you get new information that is relevant and helpful. For example, when your neighbor says, Main Street is closed all week, you can say, good to know. That will probably save you time when you're out running errands because you can avoid traffic and construction. Good to know. I'm just kidding. You can say this when you're joking or not being serious. For example, don't be mad. I'm just joking. Don't be mad. I'm just kidding. But in my opinion, jokes are for children. I'm just kidding. I love to joke, and I love being around people who have a good sense of humor. I'm feeling adventurous. You can say this when you're willing to try new and exciting things. For example, you can say, let's try that new restaurant. I'm feeling adventurous. Or, I'm feeling adventurous. I think I'll write a book. Or, I'm feeling adventurous. Let's drop everything and go to Las Vegas. Are you feeling adventurous? I'm not feeling well. This means exactly what it sounds like. You're sick or not feeling good. For example, I'm not feeling well today. I think I'll stay home. I'm not feeling well after eating all those tacos. I'm not feeling well. I think I'll lay down for a bit. Hang in there. This means to keep going or not give up. You can say this when you're encouraging a friend or family member who's not feeling well. For example, I know things are tough, but hang in there. College is hard. Hang in there. Practicing the piano takes time. Hang in there. You're on the right track. This means you're doing something correctly and moving in the right direction. For example, I can tell you, keep up the good work studying English. You're on the right track. Keep speaking out loud. You're on the right track. Do a little bit every day. You're on the right track. Let's get started. This means to begin doing something, and it sounds much more relaxed than let's begin. This is a great line you can use if you're hosting video meetings for your team. For example, all right, I want to make sure everyone is here before we get started. Oh, Dave's not here yet? Okay, let's wait for him before we get started. Oh, looks like everyone is here now. Let's get started. I'm in the mood for. You can say this when you feel like doing or having something. For example, I'm in the mood for pizza. I'm in the mood for a salad today. I'm in the mood for a long nap. I had a blast. This just means you had a lot of fun. For example, the party was great. I had a blast. Or, the vacation was so fun. I had a blast. Or, the concert was incredible. I had a blast. Let's split the bill. You can say this when you divide the cost of a meal or activity with your friends. For example, dinner was fantastic. Let's split the bill. Or, I'll buy the tickets tonight. We can split the bill tomorrow. Or, if you are at a restaurant with your friends, you can ask the waiter, can we split the bill? Sometimes the waiter will ask, is this all on one check? Or will this be separate checks? They're asking if you plan to split the bill or if just one person is going to pay. I can't thank you enough. You can say this when you're extremely grateful. For example, you helped me so much. I can't thank you enough. Or, you got my kid into Harvard. I can't thank you enough. Or, you paid my house off? I can't thank you enough. I will definitely say this to you if you pay my house off. I can't thank you enough. Better late than never. This means it's better to do something late than not at all. For example, if your friend says, I wanted to finish last week, but I finally finished my project today, you can say, better late than never. Or, I've been thinking about starting a YouTube channel for a long time, but I think it's too late. Better late than never. I'm on my way. You can say this when you start to go somewhere. For example, when you leave your house and you're going to your friend's house, you can say, I'm on my way. When you're texting, you can quickly send OMW, which is short for on my way. What's the catch? You can say this when something sounds really, really good, but you think there's a hidden problem or disadvantage. For example, this deal seems too good to be true. What's the catch? You're basically asking, what are you not telling me? Or what are you hiding from me? What's the catch? Don't sweat it. This is similar to no worries. It means not to worry about something. Don't overthink it. For example, if someone says, sorry about that, you can say, don't sweat it. Or if you're eating out with friends and you haven't decided who's paying, you can say, don't sweat it. I got this. You can pay next time. I'm starving. Say this to let people know you're super hungry, like so hungry that it's painful how hungry you are. Of course, this is an exaggeration, so it definitely catches everyone's attention. For example, I haven't eaten all day. I'm starving. Or, I'm starving. Let's eat. If you're hungry, you can wait a while before you eat. But if you're starving, you got to eat right away. It's a no-brainer. This is just a fun way to say yes. You can say this when something is so easy to decide, you don't even have to think about it. For example, should we go on vacation? It's a no-brainer, of course. Should you get 8 hours of sleep every night? It's a no-brainer. Let's dive in. Here's another great phrase for all those video meetings. It means let's get started, but usually with a little more energy or excitement. For example, hey everyone, welcome to the meeting. Let's dive in with the first item of business. Or, even easier, you can say, we have a lot to discuss. Let's dive in. I'm up for it. This means you're willing or in the mood to do something. For example, when a friend asks, do you want to go out to eat this weekend? You can say, I'm up for it. You can also say this when people are taking a poll and they say something like, who wants to go ice skating? You can say, I'm up for it. You read my mind. You can say this when someone says exactly what you're thinking. For example, if you said, after this video, do you want to grab sushi? I would say, I was literally just thinking that. You read my mind. I'm always up for some good sushi. That's awesome. If you say this, you're practically a local already. We say this a lot when something is really good or impressive. For example, you got the job? That's awesome. Or, you saw the new movie? That's awesome. You just being you? That's awesome. My bad. You can say this when it's your fault. Even if it's not 100% your fault, you own the part that you did wrong. For example, I forgot to bring the tickets. My bad. It's like saying, my fault. It was my responsibility to remember the tickets. Since I forgot them, I can say, that's my bad. It slipped my mind. You can say this when you forgot something. It's telling someone you were thinking of something totally different, and it was not even on your mind at all. For example, what if you forgot to text your friend on her birthday? Are you even friends still? You could say, I'm so sorry, I got busy yesterday, and your birthday completely slipped my mind. When I say this, I usually add completely or totally to emphasize that it was 100% out of my mind. Your birthday completely slipped my mind. Your birthday totally slipped my mind. Where does this go? You can say this when you're putting something away, back in its place. This is helpful if you don't know where to put something. For example, where does this cup go? It goes in the cupboard above the coffee machine. I say this a lot with my little girl when we're unloading the dishwasher or cleaning up toys. Where does this go? It's a deal. This means you agree to something, usually where you and a friend are both contributing something or bringing something to the table. For example, your friend says, "I'll fix dinner for everyone. Can you bring the drinks?" You can say, "It's a deal." If you want to sound really local, you can just say, "Deal." "I'm afraid not." This is a polite way to say no. For example, if someone asks, "Can you help me move tomorrow at 7 a.m.?" You can say, "I'm afraid not." Of course, it's nice to help out when you can, but you can say, "I'm afraid not," or "Sorry, I can't," if the answer is no. Personally, I don't say this too often, but it can come in handy if you want to be polite and you're not sure how to say no. I get it. You can say this when you understand something. For example, you need more time to study English? I get it. You barely get enough sleep? I get it. Or when someone tells you a really funny joke, they might ask, "Do you get it?" They're asking you if you understand the funny part of the joke. Do you get it? Yeah, I get it. That's a bummer. Say this when you find out something disappointing. It's like saying, "That sucks," but it's a little more polite. This is especially useful if you were expecting something great, but then things changed last minute. For example, the concert got canceled. That's a bummer. Your favorite store went out of business. That's a bummer. Our raise was only 2% again this year. That's a bummer. I owe you one. Say this when someone does something nice for you and you plan to return the favor in the future. For example, if your friend comes to your house at 7 a.m. to help you move, you can say, "Wow, thanks for your help. I owe you one." As far as I know, people don't keep track of how many times everyone owes each other. It's just a nice way to say, "You did me a favor and I really, really appreciate it. I owe you one." A piece of cake. This means easy. You can say this when something is really easy to do. For example, if math is easy for you, you can say, "Math is a piece of cake." And let's say you take a test and it's super easy. It was a piece of cake. Yeah, that's it. It means I have everything I need, or that's everything. This is a great phrase to say when you're at the drive-thru ordering food. For example, after you order food, they may say, "Is that everything?" And you can say, "Yeah, that's it." Or your friend is dropping you off at the airport and they help you with your luggage. They might ask, "Is that everything?" Like, "Did you get all your luggage?" And you can say, "Yeah, that's it." Keep an eye on it. This means to watch something carefully or check on something frequently. For example, "Can you watch my bag for a minute?" "Yeah, I'll keep an eye on it." "Can you make sure the soup doesn't boil over?" "Yeah, I'll keep an eye on it." This stock could be a really good investment. Thanks for the tip. I'll keep an eye on it. You made my day. You can say this when someone says or does something that makes you really happy. It's like saying what they did was the highlight of your day. For example, when your coworker surprises you with a piece of cake, you can say, "You made my day." Or when a good friend comes to visit, you can tell them, "You just made my day." I'm having second thoughts. Say this when you're reconsidering or doubting something. You thought you were going to do something, and now you're thinking of changing your mind. For example, "I'm having second thoughts about quitting my job." Or, "I'm having second thoughts about going to that college." Let's take a break. Say this when you want to pause or rest for a short time. For example, "We've been working for hours. Let's take a break." Or if you're a Friends fan, you remember, "We were on a break." It's worth a shot. This means trying something that could be beneficial. Even if it's uncertain, it's at least worth trying. For example, I don't know if it will work, but it's worth a shot. I might not get into the PhD program, but it's worth a shot. I'll apply for the job. It's worth a shot. That's the spirit. You can say this when you notice someone's positive attitude or effort. For example, if your friend says, I'll apply for the job, it's worth a shot, you can say, that's the spirit. It's like saying, that's a great attitude or great perspective. Way to be positive. That's the spirit. Take it one step at a time. This means to slow down and handle something little by little. For example, parenting can be overwhelming. Just take it one step at a time. Learning English can be overwhelming. Take it one step at a time. You can do it. I'm counting on you. You can say this when you trust someone to do something important. For example, this is an important job. I'm counting on you. Getting back into it. You can say this when you're picking up an old hobby or interest. For example, I haven't painted in years, but I'm getting back into it. I haven't golfed in a long time, but I'm getting back into it. I haven't been to the gym in a while, but I'm getting back into it. We say that to ourselves every January 1st. That sounds like a plan. This is another way of saying yes, or that you agree with a suggestion or plan. For example, if your friend says, let's meet for coffee at 10, you can say, that sounds like a plan. We often drop the word that and shorten this to sounds like a plan. I'm hooked. You can say this when you're very interested or addicted to something. For example, I watched the first episode last night of that new show, and it was so good. I'm hooked. Or they offer free shipping on every order. I'm hooked. Let me clarify. You can say this when you want to make something clear or provide more information. For example, there seems to be a misunderstanding. Let me clarify. Or, my last email was confusing. Let me clarify. Then you give more information and explain things to clear up the situation and make sure everyone understands. Time flies. You can say this when you feel time has gone by very quickly. For example, it's already 5 p.m. Time flies when you're having fun. Your kids are driving already? Time flies. It's our 20-year class reunion this year? Time flies. It's a small world. You can say this when you're surprised at how interconnected things are. Sometimes we just shorten this to small world. For example, we have a mutual friend? Small world. You were in Boston the same day we were? Small world. You're learning English too? Small world. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. You can say this when you don't want to make decisions or judgments too early. For example, we just started the project. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. There's another phrase that has the similar meaning. Let's not put the cart before the horse. It just means do things the right way and don't do things quickly or out of order. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I can't help it. You can say this when you feel like you can't control your actions or feelings. For example, I laugh every time I see that movie. I can't help it. If I open the chips, I eat the whole bag. I can't help it. If there's a new episode of my favorite show, I drop everything and watch it. I can't help it. Don't get me wrong. You can say this when you want to make sure someone understands your point. It's like saying, please don't misunderstand me. For example, if your coworker says, you don't like my idea, you can say, don't get me wrong. I like the idea, but I don't think it will work. Don't get me wrong. That's the last straw. You can say this when things have been annoying or frustrating all day, and you finally reach your breaking point, like you're ready to scream or flip over a desk. The last straw is the last little thing that makes a situation unbearable. For example, the printer broke again. That's the last straw. My phone died. That's the last straw. The sale ended. That's the last straw. Remember, this is usually something really small, but it's the final grain of rice that tips the scale and makes you reach your tipping point. Let me know. You can say this when you need someone to get back to you with more information. For example, I'm available tomorrow for lunch. Let me know if that works for you. I'm feeling lucky. You can say this when you're optimistic about a situation. For example, I think I'll buy a lottery ticket. I'm feeling lucky. I'll try and find a parking spot at the front. I'm feeling lucky. I'll apply for the job. I'm feeling lucky. That's a wrap. You can say this when a project is over. It means that's the end. For example, the meeting's over. That's a wrap. Thanks for your help, everyone. That's a wrap. Thanks for watching. That's a wrap. If you learned something new, give me a thumbs up and check out my channel for more free lessons.